Hi, let's talk about the question that everyone wants to ask but is almost too afraid to. How much is this divorce going to cost me? If you're thinking about divorce in Connecticut, you're not just emotionally overwhelmed, you're also financially anxious. So today I'm going to break it down for you. What does divorce actually cost in Connecticut? Why the numbers vary so wildly and what you can't control. Hi, my name's attorney Renee Bauer, and I'm the founder of Happy Even After Family Law. So here's the truth. A divorce in Connecticut can range anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000. Yes, that's a massive range. Well, why? Because divorce isn't one size fits all. It all depends on the complexity of your case. If your spouse is aligned with you, or are you guys at war? Are there kids? Are there businesses? Is there hidden money? Is someone trying to win? Divorce cost is directly tied to conflict and complexity. So let me give you real numbers. In Connecticut, most divorce attorneys charge an hourly rate anywhere from $350 an hour to $750 an hour. Usually the price difference varies depending on where or what part of Connecticut your lawyer is being retained from. Retainers typically range from $5,000 to $25,000 and sometimes even more. So here's what impacts your bill. An uncontested divorce means that you both agree on custody, finances, property division, and you might resolve your divorce for somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $15,000 total. That means your divorce is fast, it's efficient, it's strategic, everyone's aligned and working towards a common goal is to get you on the other side of that. Next phase would be the moderately contested divorce, meaning there's a disagreement on some issues, not all, but there's also reasonable negotiation. So there is some back and forth, there's some settlement negotiations, there's court appearances, there's maybe a judicial pretrial, things that require your lawyers to go to court, require time, require digging in to some of the issues. Sometimes it even requires hearings on one issue or two issues, and sometimes requires a full trial on issues if things aren't resolved. And so a divorce like that could range anywhere from 15,000 to 35,000, maybe even to 50,000, depending on how complex the issues are and how many days of trial that you have. Then you have the high conflict, high asset divorce. So let's say there's multiple businesses. You need forensic accountants. You need custody evaluations. There's crypto involved and you need to hire an expert to uncover that. That's where divorce gets very, very, very expensive. You could see 50,000, 75,000, even $100,000 plus, plus, plus. The further down you go in Connecticut to the Gold Coast, what they call it, the more expensive divorces tend to be. For some reason, cases out of Stamford just tend to be more expensive and go longer. Could have something to do with the demographic down there. And people are just fighting over money more, quite frankly. So the moral of the story is litigation is very expensive. The more aligned you are in order to get this done in a quick, swift way with your spouse, the better off you are in terms of maintaining some of the marital estate. So, what really drives the cost of divorce? Here's what people don't realize. You're often in control of how expensive and how expensive your divorce becomes. So costs skyrocket when you react emotionally instead of strategically. You send 15 emails a day to your lawyer. You're fighting over principle instead of outcome. Anytime you use the word, I want to go to court over principle, you have already lost your case. You refuse to come to the table with good faith settlement negotiations. You hide information. You're combative with your lawyer, requiring having to go to court multiple times in order to just get the most basic financial disclosure. Now, understand you can't control how your spouse is, and if your spouse is all of those things that I just stated, you might find yourself in an expensive divorce that's not your fault. But if both people can kind of own their role in the divorce, that often impacts the length of the divorce and the expense of the divorce. So, hidden costs that people forget. Let's talk about the things that aren't on your legal bill, that often will cost money when you're going through a divorce. Things such as therapy, appraisers, experts, forensic accountants, business valuations, um, setting up a new household if you have to move, and the moving expenses and new furniture. Those are also things to just kind of keep in mind as you move through your divorce. So yes, there's a legal side to it, but there's also a life restructuring side to divorce. So thinking about that and planning for that early makes all of the difference in how you get through the process. So how to control your divorce costs. If you want to protect your wallet, get organized before you meet with your attorney, be honest about finances, really decide what truly matters, have a goal list of the things that are most important to you, and the things that you're willing to compromise on. Consider mediation, and then hire the right lawyer the first time. The right strategy up front saves tens of thousands of dollars later on. Cheap representation sometimes escalates conflict. Misaligned representation sometimes costs you more in the long run. So if you're in Connecticut and you're wondering what your divorce might cost, the answer is not generic, it is strategic, and it all depends on your unique situation. Every case is so different. At Happy Even After Family Law, we help you understand your financial exposure, create a smart plan, and move through this without blowing up your future. If you want clarity and not chaos, reach out.